Matt Lenihan for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store and Our Kings Competitions. We're here with Dave Coldwell. Dave, been a while since we've called, but a lot's gone on. How's things anyway, mate?
Very good, thanks. Very good. Yeah, can't complain. Got a couple of fight dates for the youngsters that are coming through. Training hard in the gym. Life's good outside the gym, so I can't complain, mate. What about yourself? What's going on?
Yeah, a lot of
Jet
travelling,
setting.
a lot of travelling, a lot of travelling. But it's been good seeing three fight nights in 2 weeks. We had the one in London covered as well. But yeah, got to see Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano sort of finish off that trilogy. The Times Square show, Shakur and obviously Shiraz's not stoppage of Alanga, and
Yeah.
then yeah, got to sort of, it was a bit surreal last week. 'Cause I never ever thought when I started doing this that I'd get to cover a Pacquiao fight, but we've done it.
Yeah.
And yeah, he got a draw out of it, a questionable one. But I want to start with the Usyk Dubois fight for now. Just quickly, just on the performance, I was watching it via say DAZN link, and yeah, just he amazes me every time I see him. I've been privileged to see him live numerous times, and every time I watch him, I'm just like, this guy is so elite. Like everything he does. What's your takeaway from what was a brutal finish to a good performance?
I think you've just said it. You used the word. It's a privilege. I feel as though I'm privileged to watch him. I'm privileged to have seen him up close. He, he's an absolute icon of the sport, I feel, and I feel he deserves it. He's, in and out of the ring, he is what you warm to, regardless of language barriers. There's only
Mhm.
certain characters in sport in life that can cross that divide of a language barrier, and I feel that Usyk is that guy of our generation where. A lot these days, especially, we need to hear people talk. We need to people, the banter or the biting at each other and things like that. But with Usyk, you're not going to get that. But how he speaks, what he says, how he delivers things, whether it's through his broken English or whether it's through his translator, we all warm to.
Mhm.
And then he goes in the ring and he keeps testing himself in these fights, and he delivers. And he's not just where you watch boxers and some people like they'll want to see a tear up, but even the people that enjoy seeing tear ups watch him box. But he puts a spin on the boxing where he's actually beating you up,
Yeah,
and he's not just boxing and running away. It's the sweet science blended with a little bit. There's more spite about him there than what
mm.
people tend to give him credit for. And I thought it was brilliant. It was sensational on Saturday night.
You mentioned there, and I think he says a lot without saying a lot. Like he'll turn up to the press conference, he'll don some fancy outfit, or something to do with obviously his heritage, and you've seen it before, even at the open workouts. He'll be juggling, he'll be dancing, and
He's a
there's
big
some
character, Matt. He's a
he
big
is.
character, and boxing needs characters. And like I said, his character's that big that it crosses that language barrier.
Hmm.
But especially listen, when you're talking about his performance and you talk about what he does in the ring, from round one, he hits Dubois with three heavy, hard, perfectly timed jabs, and I just saw in the body language in Dubois, I just thought he's doing that to let him know they've blown this up where you only won because of a controversial low blow. People forget what he did for every other round apart from that one shot. I thought it was low anyway, but whether people want to say it borderline or whatever, whether they milked it, whether they played the game, whatever, they built this whole narrative. Dubois' team and people that are supporting that Dubois now is just gonna. Now he's a beast. He's just gonna walk straight through you. And he was kind of like in that first round, letting you know and say, walk through that, you bastard, and that was just a jab. And
Yeah.
by the end of the first round, especially so in the second round, you saw a little dip. You actually saw a dip in the confidence levels of Dubois, where all of a sudden he started doubting himself. And I just feel as though this is what Usyk's a master of. We've said it all along for every fight that's coming up. When we was preparing Bellew for it, when after the Bellew fight, Bellew will tell himself he puts doubts in your head, stops you from doing what you want to do because there's so much going on for what he's doing, but he's also just making you miss, making you miss. So you feel like you're overcommitting, and then he starts whacking you back. So when people are saying you just need to throw, you just need, mate, I always said it. You had people like Marco Hook, but like everybody at the cruiserweight was just trying to run at him, trying to steamroller him. He's used to that. He's used to people just trying to put it on him.
Mm.
He's made for that, and he's comfortable with that. He's had Fury, he's had AJ, he's had all these big guys, all these top level guys trying to either box with him or trying to go at him. He can adapt to every style, and I think once he put those doubts in Dubois' head,
Mm.
then Dubois doesn't want to just overcommit because he's getting hit back, and that's why eventually he does commit, overcommits, and gets nailed. It's not as easy as just throw punches. It's not
No.
as easy as just you need to commit more.
I think there's very few fighters who can command that sort of. I don't want to say the physical side of it because look, they're all tremendous athletes, but especially in the Bellew fight, like for me, I remember going to that fight with my dad and often saying, "Look, I think Tony's winning quite a few of these rounds," but I says, "But the amount of work he's doing up here, not just in his legs, you
Exactly.
could," and I'm looking, going, "This is so mentally draining to
Yeah,
watch
it
with his
really is.
with his feet positioning and." Just hopping in and out, getting a tell, getting a look, and it's like this. The inevitable's coming here, but it
Yeah.
just looks. It just looks.
And
Yeah,
do you know what as well, Matt? Even when you're in the corner as well, opposite him, and you watch because obviously you're watching your man, but you're watching his man. You're watching, and there's a lot going off for me to be watching at the same time.
yeah,
And it's also it drains you. There's that much concentration. There's that much you're absorbed into what this guy's doing, whether it's upper body, lower body, just his face, where he's looking. What it gives off so much. So the fighter that's in front that's getting hit, that's mentally very 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 draining. And again, I think after about 3 rounds, you saw the pace, and Dubois started taking steps back, starts taking breaths. He's a fit kid.
yeah.
He's not underprepared. He's a fit kid, but there's a difference in what draining the brain can do, as well as just being physical. Oh, it's a hard pace. Or it's more than that. And Usyk's a master at it. He's unbelievable. It was the finish was outstanding, but the performance for me altogether was just outstanding.
Just a couple more on this fight. In terms of what's next for Usyk, look, I don't think he had out to prove even before this fight, but by all means, I think he's got one more left by his own admission. For me, the fighter that deserves it is Joseph Parker, but I
100%.
think, look, Joe's come off the back of back-to-back victories, had his own little
Yeah.
thing in between. I'd like to see him go into it like sharper. Obviously, I know he had the round with Bacoli or two, but he deserves it. But do you think that fight will happen next? Because, like you say, if Usyk's at that stage where, look, he's never going to be called for ducking anybody. Look at who he's beaten on multiple occasions. But do you think he does the last dance with Joseph Parker, or maybe does he drop the belt, pivot, and give Fury a trilogy, or what do you think?
But what he's beaten Fury twice. He's beaten AJ twice. I don't.
He's beating
I,
everyone, like, you know what I mean?
yeah, I don't see the value in a trilogy with that. Um, no, I mean, listen, I'm not saying no, the fights won't happen because obviously, if the money's there, then it could well happen. But no, I mean, for me, I would want to see I would want to see him walk away. I'll be honest with you, because
So,
for him to walk away 3 times undisputed champion, 2 times heavyweight undisputed champion, to walk off into the sunset. Oh my God, what an accolade!
yeah,
And I don't. The problem is for me is there isn't a win out there that's left for him to take that's going to add to the legacy that in 10, 15 years time
I
when we're
agree.
talking about boxing of the olden days, which is now, when we're talking about Usyk, there's nobody out there right now that him beating them is going to add value to that legacy and how we speak.
Yeah,
If he beats Joseph Parker next, Parker 100% is more than deserves his opportunity. But if he beats Joseph Parker, does that get spoken about in the same breath as the Fury wins, the AJ wins, the cruiserweight career, the Olympic gold medal, even then Daniel Dubois what he did in the rematch after I don't think he does. I don't
No.
think he does. So I would like him to walk away, and then we see what happens with the belts, who gets the shots, and we see it all start getting cleaned up again with with a lot of, exciting, meaningful fights throughout the division.
Yeah. I think whatever happens, and I like Usyk a lot, and I see what you're saying. As long as Joe Parker don't get messed around, he needs a
No,
shot. He's more than earned his way back. For Daniel Dubois, then the flip side. So I saw a story on Talksport today, which was initially I read it and I was a bit like, "Holy shit, that is wild." But I think, especially in this media game, a lot can be misconstrued as to what certain things are. Is he having this party with 70 people? Is it something he's literally passed through, said hello, walked out? I heard Don Charles actually say on Talksport, look, before the Anthony Joshua fight, we had a gathering, weren't a party, revved him up, there's people there, etc. Obviously, I think it was organised this by his father, not by Don. But then he went in there and did what he had to do. So we tried to replicate it for this time. Are we looking too much into it, or is that something that's hindered him? From the outside looking in, when you say he's been partying through the day before the fight, it's a bit different from what it actually could have been. So, just what's your take from looking at it?
if there's 70 people around at your house, and they're not just sipping still water and tonic water and soft drinks and stuff. If there's 70 people around your house, it's a bit rowdy,
However,
isn't it?
however many people, yeah, I think that was what they
Right?
said.
It's a bit rowdy. Now, I get some. So you could say that old school would be like your girlfriend's nowhere near, your wife's nowhere near.
Yeah,
These days, we see fighters walking into MSG, into O2, into all the big venues for the big fights, holding the wives' hands and walking in, got the kids with them. It's a different vibe, right?
mm-hmm.
I believe whatever works for a fighter is going to get him to perform better. Whatever he's comfortable in, I get that. Sometimes you got to think, oh, okay, just because the old school say you can't have your girlfriend or you can't. It's not like people like Benavidez, like Canelo, like a lot of fighters are walking in with the families and stuff like that. They feel comfortable. It allows them to relax a little bit more. Having a group of people around you can help a fighter be chilled, be calm. The right person from that person, the right words from that person at the right time can help reassure. Some people like that, like a few people.
Yeah,
But it's got to be people that know, number one, how the fighter's mind works, number two, knows boxing, and how to marry them two things together. If you've got all these different people there, even if they're not, even if it's just good luck tonight, mate. Good luck tonight. Good, come on, mate. Come on, champ. Yes, champ. Things like that. Although they're done with coming from a right place, what they can do with fighters, people say what you want. I've seen it with fighters. You see that it's there's pressure coming on more and more, even by people just saying, "Good luck, mate. You've got this, mate. You're gonna smash him, mate." It's just a bit more pressure, a bit more tension, a bit more expectancy from them that's added on to the fighter. The fighter's going into the ring not only wanting to win the fight for himself, but also feels the added
everyone.
pressure from the team that's been putting hours and stuff like that. You hear it, don't you? I've got to win for my team. I've got to win for it. No, a fighter's got to win for himself. But by hearing more and more voices say, "Do it for us," because they do it for us, champ. Knock him out for me, mate. And even though it comes from a good place, it adds more pressure onto fighters. Now, me personally, that shit won't happen. Not having 70 people, 30 people, 40 people. I can be a bit of a twat in the change rooms, and if my fighter's not right, I've done it with Bellew, I've done it with several fighters where I'll literally kick everybody out of the change room
Yeah,
because you need to listen, focus, you're about to go out. Focus, switch on. Not happening, everybody get out. And then you get them, and then it gets back into that zone. I wouldn't be comfortable, and if it was my knowledge, I wouldn't have my fighters wouldn't do that anyway. Now, I'm not saying that Daniel's done that. What I'm hearing is that this was a get together and a gathering done on his behalf sort of thing or whatever for whatever benefits. I'm hearing things about how when they've got to the venue, they were hanging about outside because the people, the part of the team, entourage, whatever you want to call it, couldn't get in. I'm sorry, but if when we go to the venue, there's me, the fighter, and whoever's in my corner. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? And or even if a
Part of your
white wants to
team.
come or
Part of your
whatever,
team. Yeah.
they'll come. But do you know when you get to the gates, if there's an issue with my accreditation or with anybody else, listen, my guy, my fighter, he's got his credit. You go in while seeing change rooms, go in with whoever, security will walk him in, whatever. Go in, get yourself settled in change rooms. I'll sort this out and I'll catch you up. Or if they get, sometimes fighters will get, oh, so can't hit. Don't worry about it. We'll sort it out. You get yourself in settled. We'll sort that. Somebody else sorts it. Not sat about waiting for everybody else to get their accreditation or do they get it or what. That's wrong. Listen, different people work in different ways. When you do something that's different to the normal, sometimes you can win despite that. It's not because of that. Sometimes you can win despite doing things wrong. But more often than not, it catches up on you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can't just turn around and say, yeah, but you can't say that I didn't do it because last time you won. Well, maybe last time you went into the ring with a broken rib and still pulled the fight off and won. I know because when Bellew boxed A, he had a broken rib. The first shot that he hit him with was a jab to the rib, and I was like, fuck. But he weren't pulling out of the fight. He went in with a broken rib, but he didn't then think, well, because I've done that, I can do that every time. It don't matter.
Yeah.
You're not going to get away with it every time. Could be another time he got cracked hit on a straight on it. It's done. That's it. What I'm saying is, just because the gathering, the party, whatever, was done before the AJ fight, doesn't mean that the effects of it aren't the pressures, the well wishes or whatever, that not being able to chill, relax, get yourself in the zone, doesn't mean that it's not going to catch up on you. Don't forget as well, the AJ fight, going in against AJ is a different mental attitude going into that than there is going into a fight with Usyk.
Yeah.
Completely different. Completely different. Number one, Usyk stopped you last time. Usyk stopped you. Don't forget, you can be as confident as you want with AJ because the stories about whether he's sparring with him or whatever, you can be confident as you want and think, yeah, no problem, no problem. Which is how they seem to be.
Mm-hmm.
We've got this power. As soon as I land on AJ, I'm going to knock him out. Usyk's a different kettle of fish. You know you've got to be mentally so sharp, so switched on, fucking zoned in, not drained, got to be 100% the whole way through while you're in that ring with him.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get away with shit like that. And they didn't get away with shit. Like I said, it don't make a... Listen, you weren't going to win the fight because if you hadn't had a gathering. What I'm saying is, doing things like that don't help the situation, don't help your plight going into a really tough fight.
Mm-hmm. Moving away from that, before we talk about Manny Pacquiao, someone who did face off with Usyk in the ring, Jake. I'm not asking this for any other reason, but because he's there, because look, even undisputed heavyweight world championship, and then he does a face off with Usyk. But also, this is a guy who, in the space of a year, and I believe this for a fact, I actually spoke to Tank's manager in Vegas. That fight with Gervonta was going to happen with Jake Paul after, if obviously Roach went through and there wasn't loads of legal things surrounding Tank at the minute. So that was going to happen. How that had worked in size, not a clue. But you then look at, he said, the Anthony Joshua fight, I want that fight, and it'll happen. And then when you see him have a picture with Turkey, you then see Eddie Hearn go, probably could happen that. What do you make of Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul? The fact we're even having this chat's a bit of a wild one.
Well, firstly, listen, Jake Paul getting the ring straight away with Usyk, right? You got to rate him because he knows that the whole world's boxing eyes are on him. Where does he put himself? Next to the guy that has got the whole world looking at him right now. Fair play. So he's done that. He's got his little profile boost again. He keeps pulling it off. Incredible. Rate him as long as you're not rating him in any boxing organization's top 10s. Right?
All right.
Anthony Joshua against Jake Paul. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Fucking hell, it's going to happen. It is. There's too many moving parts that are moving in that way, in that direction. So it's going to happen. And when you look as well, look at history, Anthony Joshua fought Ngannou, who had one fight. Do you know what I mean?
We know what happens.
Yeah, but he fought him. And or even worse, so Tyson Fury, who was at the time the champ, fights
Yeah.
Ngannou, who's never had a pro fight. So if the fights like that can happen in this modern age of boxing, if those fights can happen, why is Jake Paul, who gets unbelievable numbers, has the most unbelievable profile and character that is in the sport right now, why is him against arguably the last decade's biggest, one of the biggest names, and the guy that draws the numbers, be it pay per view, be it his face plastered all over New York, all over Miami, all over the whole of America, as well as being over here a huge superstar. Why is that fight not going to happen when you see what's gone off in the past? Of course it is. If Turkey wants it, if Eddie's saying it can happen, Jake Paul's saying it's definitely going to happen, and you've got AJ just staying quiet and just going to be when it happens, it's going to happen. It'll happen, and then the whole of the YouTube world will go quiet when AJ lands that big booming right hand and please to God follows it up with a left hook and cleans him out. And then you can then say, okay, well done, fair play, you got what you wanted. Now, just let's be realistic with what you're doing in boxing.
With all respect, if he makes it out of a round with Anthony Joshua, is there a problem?
Not a round, no, because AJ
Fine,
could
2 rounds.
yeah,
Is there an issue?
three,
As in,
3 rounds, 100%.
if no, but you know yourself,
Because
right?
listen, what he might do
He
is
could
what he
run
will do.
around. Yeah, he will
He'll
move.
run like fuck. Come on,
Yeah, but
I'm telling you now. Listen, there is no way that Jake Paul gets this fight, walks to the center of the ring, and stands there in front, in punching distance, in mid to close range of Anthony Joshua. Not a chance. I guarantee you. There's more chance of me tomorrow morning, you FaceTiming me tomorrow morning, my hair sprung out like fucking Don King, and I happen to be towering up over everybody in boxing, right? Because I've grown 2 foot, 3 foot, right? It's not happening. It's not happening. He's going to run, run, run. So it depends how long it takes AJ to trap him and catch him. And then it's done. That's it. That's the fight.
can you imagine the unthinkable happens in that fight, and he somehow.
Mate, AI couldn't make that shit up.
No, I know that, but I'm saying we spoke to, for instance, who did we speak to? Spoke to Rolly Romero. Now he knows what he's doing and he knows what he's saying. First thing he said was, I asked him and he says, Jake Paul beat him. And I just went, no, I said Anthony Joshua versus Jake players. Jake Paul beat him. And I was just like, I know everyone says stuff for effect, but you're like, wow, is the people that genuinely believe, do you think there's people who genuinely believe in boxing that Jake Paul has a chance against Anthony Joshua?
No, not genuinely.
No.
Not genuinely. Listen, fair play to him. I can't knock him. He's done
Fair play.
unbelievable. Credit. And I think what he's doing with his promotions, unbelievable. But he isn't beating Anthony Joshua. Not unless Anthony Joshua is sat on his stool and has to stay on his stool while the fight's happening.
All right. No, look, I'm with you. I've got to play devil's advocate for the sake of what other people are saying. Manny Pacquiao returned. Never thought I'd cover a fight week. We spoke up a little bit off camera about it, but it was a draw. And Kai had it to Pacquiao. A lot of people came out saying Pacquiao won that fight. 46 years of age. Look, he's had 4 years out the ring. He had one exhibition where he didn't look like he did on fight night anyway. Let's just say that. And
I wonder why.
yeah, I don't know, it's time out, rest, recuperation. But anyway, he's back at 46, and I think the general consensus going into it from a lot of people, and rightly so, would be that Barrios at 30, 31, or wherever he is, he's a two-weight world champion. Whoever he's beat, should be young, fresh, and fitter enough to deal with Pacquiao. It looked like the occasion got to him. To far too much respect being shown by all accounts.
Sometimes that can happen. We've seen that before. Sometimes that can happen when you're fighting a legend,
In awe of him.
and somebody that, yeah, you're in awe, exactly, and it's like you're just caught in that trap where you can't fight free and easy.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, when you're in awe of somebody, it can take away a huge chunk of your concentration, of your discipline, what you're supposed to do. You're just enveloped in it. It's like when fighters freeze through nerves or anything like that. They know what they're supposed to do. They've trained for what they're supposed to be doing, but it just grips you, paralyzes you, and stops you from doing what you can do, and you just can't get out of it. That could happen with barriers, or it could just be that poor. It could just be that poor.
When you see obviously someone like Manny coming back at 46, even just to come back for this, not even an exhibition, an actual genuine world title fight. I mean, when you look, Conor Ben's in line to fight for that WBC title. I'm sure he watched that and went, let's maybe run that next if the Eubank thing doesn't happen. But yeah, Pacquiao, I think he's looking at getting back out as well before the end of the year. Is it a bit
that was the worst thing for me going into this fight. I did an interview with somebody about it. I think it was a BBC, and I said the worst thing is that if Pacquiao actually did well in the fight, because then he's going to carry on, because it's not good for him. When you're getting hit at that age, it's different to getting hit in your 20s. It's different to getting hit even in your 30s. He's a man that's coming up towards 50. Your brain doesn't take it as well as what you used to in your younger days, you know. So it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Obviously, he's there. You know, he's had his fight back now. He's performed well. He's going to feel as though I can do this, and that's quite a dangerous thing. And it's a legend that's just carrying on for too long. I'm not a fan of that sort of thing. No. That's, you know, I said that before going into the fight, and I don't need to see what happened in the fight to say it again. And as you're getting older, this is the guy that's come up from flyweight. Remember, you know.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah.
So
let's finish on a legend per se. Then anyway, I want to talk about him. Josh Taylor's announced his retirement. I think the tweet that we put out said, you know, he's achieved every boxer's dream. I think within 18 fights, becoming undisputed. Yeah. Look, Manny's dream to be a British champion, world champion, whatever, but he had the whole lot. And I think one thing that's disappointing is he did that all through a time in COVID where, can you imagine if like Scotland was out and about full, his stardom would have probably gone even further through the roof. And look, no matter what happened in Catrol 1, 2 or whatever, he's achieved a hell of a lot in the sport. And if you look at the rise that he had to get to that point, likes of a Victor Postal at the time, a Regis Prograis, he was beating people when they were somewhat thereabouts in the prime and still dangerous. What do you make of Josh Taylor just before we wrap this up?
Oh, unbelievable career. Like you said, in 18 fights, there's a domestic fighter, you know, when I fight from these show sets, to do that, nobody's done that. You know, it just stacks that you think, oh, this is tough. Oh, this. Look at his path, how he got there. They tested him every time, and he was taking big leaps every time. And he ends up being undisputed. And like you say, it is a shame. Time, we always say about boxing's timing. He could have been an absolute superstar. Listen, he's not caught fire, and that's how it is. But it doesn't take away from his achievements. I mean, he was undisputed champion of the world. That is the absolute top. Doesn't matter what happens after that. When you've done with your career, if you've been undisputed champion, mate, you're a legend. You know, and he is. He's a British boxing legend. Didn't last long. The star didn't bright long.
Yeah.
But it was bright for like really, really short period of time, but it was super bright because undisputed champion doing what he's done. Yes, there's, you know, we talk about the Catrol fights and stuff like that. But before that, he became undisputed champion. Now he's retired. leave it all. It's all done. He was Josh Taylor, undisputed champion of the world.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to end. I mean, when you look at his body of work as well, like it's not just one that's had the odd vacant belt here, and you look and go, getting
No,
manoeuvred, bang, 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 and then go to Vegas to do it. So, yeah, congrats to Josh Taylor on what was a brilliant career. Look, Dave, it's been good to catch up. It has been a while. I'm sure the next few weeks there'll be something or other coming up, so we'll catch up again then. And we'll jump back on. So appreciate it. Thank you for coming on.
nice one, mate. Cheers.
Thank you.